Hey, what's up everyone? Journeyman here and welcome back to Save Our Saints. Today is episode 21 and we take on Everton in the league and then we take on Tottenham. We are now in the middle of January, which means it's a pretty terrifying time to be a Southampton fan. As we know, teams tend to want to buy our players for some reason. Hey everyone, once again, welcome back to Save Our Saints. Today we take on Tottenham and Everton in the Premier League as we try and get back to winning ways. So, it's been a couple of games since the last time you joined us. Run through some of those fixtures real quick. After the Newcastle game, we beat Tottenham 1-0, so it'll be a return leg of that game. Matt Target getting the only goal, but unfortunately in this one, we did lose Wilfred Ndidi and Anthony Martial. That were big blows, especially during a very, very heavy fixture season. Obviously losing players for injuries kind of really left us short-handed. We also lost Wesley Hoyt briefly in this game too. After that, we followed up with a 2-2 draw against Manchester United. Usually I would say a 2-2 draw at home against United would be a great result. However, Haaland actually missed a penalty in the 79th minute and then we conceded the goal in the 81st minute. So overall, I felt frustrated. I felt like we dropped 2 points here over then just gained a point against Man United. But again, it's kind of an indication on how far we've come as far as a football club and the quality of talent that we have. To be disappointed of a draw against United, that's actually a pretty good step in my opinion. After that, it was a 4-1 demolition job against Arsenal at the Emirates. Ignore these match stats at the bottom of the screen. The game was long gone before any of most of our shots came. Just a very disappointing performance. Our back line was atrocious, and atrocious for the first time in quite a while. Toljan, Hoyt, Target all getting 6s and below. Just a very, very poor performance. And Wesley Hoyt lately, I'm not sure what's wrong with him, but he's been very, very poor and he's been very unreliable in defence. Obviously, I mean, not taking into effect his real life form. In the game, he's usually kind of reliable. I mean, he's a 3-star player. He's a decent Premier League player. He should perform better than he has been. Maybe it's my tactic. Maybe I've got to make a slight tweaks and adjustments to it. But recently, Wesley hasn't been himself. After that, another disappointing display against Everton, who are playing up next in the first game of the episode. This is in the FA Cup third round, however. A lone goal from Cenk Toussaint giving Everton the victory. And again, this was another disappointing performance. I'm not quite sure what happened. But, I mean, we were pretty weak in midfield. I think that could have been an issue to it. Injuries, fitness, suspension basically meant we had to roll with Tom Haaland, as we know, still a growing regen. And we went Daniel Amati, who's more of a right-back than he is a centre midfielder. So we had to run with him in this game. So we're left pretty short in midfield, honestly. And I feel like we need to strengthen that area if we want to mount a challenge for that top 4 position. So let's go take a look at some of the options we do have to us. So let me see. I don't have much money to spend, as you can see. Only £5 million in the transfer budget and only about 12,000 in wage. So I do have to be careful on who I can bring in here, obviously who I can afford and things like that. So we'll do interest in a loan deal. We'll see what names pop up. Ross Barkley could be an interesting signing, but I'm looking for a bit more of a physical player in midfield. Ross Barkley doesn't really fit that category. He's a good playmaker, really good playmaker. I'd love to bring him in if the terms and conditions are right, but I feel like it might be out of our reach. Ronaldo, then that could be an interesting signing for us. The media description is a world-class midfielder, as you can see over here. He signed for Monaco a few years back for about £24 million. And he's got really good technical and mental attributes. Physically, he's actually pretty strong as well. He can do the job, obviously, as a Mazzala, which is one of the positions we use in midfield. And he's not bad at a born midfielder. He has... Let me see. I'm going to click on this real quick. So, born midfielder. Obviously, some of the key attributes are teamwork, work rate, which he does pretty well. Pace, stamina, strength, not great. Concentration, anticipation is pretty good. Aggression and tackling, not the best either. If the deal was right here, Ronaldo might actually be a pretty solid loan sign for the rest of the campaign. How much do they want? They don't want 30% of his wages, only $2,500, and I haven't got to pay any money to them either. That might be a really good deal for us. I'm going to try and bring this guy. I'm going to try and bring Ronaldo to Southampton. That might be a really, really good loan signing for the rest of the campaign. At least they compete with Ndidi and Lamina and obviously Gambin as well. Who else in here? Götze. Mario Götze. Oh, that could be a great signing for attacking midfield. But I mean, Scarpa's been good, so has Grealish. So it'd be a little bit harsh to drop those two for Götze, even though Götze, you could argue is a better player. How much do they want? 23 million, but they want me to pay all his wages. I'm not going to. £170,000 a week. That's a little bit too much for me to be able to afford. You know what? Oh, it's tempting to bring in Dembele though. He's a playmaker. Check his ball in midfield. He's good at tackling. This guy could be actually a better option for me than Wijnaldum. But a lot of it goes down to what they want for him on a loan deal. So they only want 25,000 for him. And obviously, because I put the bid in for Wijnaldum, I don't have the wage budget to use. So if I move some over here, maybe give us a bit more, I might be able to work out. Here we go. I can at least put down a bid for him and then decide between the two as we get closer to the date. But Dembele might be a pretty solid signing too. I'll put that in. Okay, perfect. So I finalize offer. Okay. So I put in bids for two midfielders now, Wijnaldum and Dembele. Both could be pretty solid signings for me towards the end of the season. I wanted to sign Sven Bender, but he wanted 100,000 a week, and I wasn't really willing to give him that, unfortunately. Really good centre half, really good midfielder as well, but 31 years old, and he wants 100,000 on a 4-year deal. That's not really a sensible move in our camp, at least. This guy looks pretty good. David Kasambi. Haven't really heard of him. I'm going to scout him. I'm going to take a look at him. They don't want much from him either by the look of things. He's listed, transfer listed for 2.1 million. Yeah, I'll give him a look over. He could be a pretty useful rotation guy. He's a ball midfielder, can also play as a centre-half as well. He could provide a decent backup option for Gambin. Yeah, I'm going to scout him. I'll take a look at him, and if he's any good, I'll try and bring him in. And for the rest of the season too, actually, I'm going to bring back Callum Slattery from his loan deal. I want to get him involved more in the first team. He's a really, really good player, Callum Slattery, and I think I've kind of neglected his growth, and that's kind of been my fault, obviously. But he is a very, very talented player and could be a decent midfield rotation option for us. One of our players are wanted, by the way, James Ward-Prowse. He's wanted by Wolves at this moment in time, and he wants to leave. You know, he doesn't want to stay with the football club, which is a little disappointing because obviously James was one of the original players that we had in the team when I took over, and I wanted to keep him on for a long time. Wanted to be him to be the next great Southampton one club man like Jason Dodd, even though he did loan appearances, Prani Benali, Matt Letitia, just a couple names that ring off the top of my head. I wanted Prowse to be that guy, but looking like increasingly like he wants to get out of here, and if I get a solid bid for him around about 15.5 million, that's something I've got to take seriously. All right, so obviously we're still deciding here between Dembele and Wijnaldum, and it's kind of a mixed fan reaction too. A couple of players like Mama Suso, that's a great name for a Twitter handle. Dembele wouldn't say no to that. Richard Birch, he wants Dembele too. Tyrone wants a proper solution rather than a temporary one. Well, I'm sorry, Tyrone, we don't really have any money to spend. The Wijnaldum one, get him in, can't think of a good reason not to. Jonathan Spence, I wonder if that's, yeah, never mind. Greg Rayner, he's not all that. Not a bad way to strengthen the squad. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, it's still a toss-up, to be honest with you. I'm not sure who I want. Obviously, both of them have to agree to move to me, but as of right now, I'm kind of leaning towards Dembele just because of his ability to play as a ball-winning midfielder over Wijnaldum. That tends to be the one part of midfield we're struggling with, to find an actual holding midfielder. But yeah, we'll take a look. All right, so here's that bid I was talking about here from Wolves for James Ward-Prowse. They've come back with a slightly better offer than last time. It's a non-negotiable, and he wants to sign for Wolves. He's on decent wages too, 50k a week, 13.5 million. But he's not going to get any better than he actually is. At most, he's a rotation player, and he's only actually played 8 games for us in the Premier League this season. He had to get a goal, no assists. He's played most of his games in the Europa Cup, and he's done pretty well for us. I don't really want to sell him, but I think I'm going to, just because I don't want to upset the good morale we have in our dressing room right now. And not to mention, we could do with the money. We don't really have that much of it left, and if I could maybe sign that Borussia Mönchengladbach midfielder through this transfer, then maybe it's worth a go. I'm going to accept that offer for Tala too. He can definitely go on loan. All right, a loan offer here for young striker Cosimo Marco de Grassa. I'm really encouraged by his growth thus far. He's done very well in the reserves too. He's got himself quite a few goals. 11 goals in non-competitive games, and he's pitched him a few in the other games too. So he's definitely got promise about him. I think he would serve well here, going on loan to Perugia, who play in the Serie A. So if he gets some game time in the Serie A, that would be definitely beneficial for his development. I would love to bring in David Unsworth as a coach. I think that would be a great addition to the backroom team. But I don't think I have any spots left. I don't know. I do have some coaches deals expiring in the summer though, so I might think about bringing Unsworth in instead, because I would like to upgrade the training staff if possible, because I feel that's one of the weaker parts of our team at the moment. Bad news about Jamesy though. He's out 3 to 5 weeks. That might actually stop his move to the Wolves, and that would be, obviously he might be disappointed with that, but yeah. Anyway, training. Let's take a quick look actually. It says staff, sorry, staff. Look at staff. We're not bad. We're not bad. We really are middle of the pack, to be honest with you. We can definitely do some work on the attacking fitness front, as well as man management. Scouting, not bad. Could be better as well. I might try and expand our coaching team, though. I don't think the board will go for it right now, just for financial reasons. I think in the summertime we can address that, and we'll try and maybe force the board to give us a few extra coaching slots. But for now, I think we're doing okay. And good news, midweek too, we got Anthony Martial back, so he's going to be available for at least the Everton game. Sorry, at least the Tottenham game, and we'll decide on game day if we're going to use him against Everton. All right, so you got 6 months left, some of these deals. I'm going to go ahead and take a look, see if anyone really stands out to me as a potential sign-in. Angel Di Maria, then that could be an intriguing sign-in for Southampton. It definitely would give us a lot more revenue coming in. Obviously, he's 32 now, which means he's going to be on decline. He's naturally a very, very talented player. How much would he want, though? That's the key, though. He's going to want a lot of money, yeah. £235,000. That's definitely something we can't afford to bring him in, especially, I mean, that's a ridiculous wage request, honestly, for a 32-year-old. He wants a 2-year deal, £230,000 a week. I'd love to bring Di Maria in, but it's just not realistic. All right, so we have Pedro here. This could be an intriguing option for us. He's still got something to offer the team. Obviously, the former Chelsea player. Certainly a very talented attacking midfielder. But unfortunately, he doesn't look like he's interested in negotiating terms right now. We might have to address that later on. But obviously, yeah, with the Bosman rulings, it might be nice to try and bring in an experienced European player at some point. But anyway, let's just try and get to the Everton game now, because I feel like I've wasted a ton of time searching for potential players to bring in, despite me saying at the start of this episode that I wasn't going to be doing that. But I'm all about strengthening the squad when available, and I'm taking it seriously this year. I want to be in the Champions League if possible. Money might come into the club here. We got about £3 million from this deal. That's not really a good sum of money, but still, Ward Prowse wants to leave. So goodbye, Prowse. It's been an honour, as always. I'll never forget the moments, the very, very few moments that we had together. Was magical. But it's sad to see one of our own leave, another one at least. And Ryan Bertrand, as you can see, is not happy about that. Let me see. Yep, discuss the issue with Bertrand. Let's see what he says. So, he says, I'm not happy about the fact that James Ward-Prowse has left, but it means a lot that you came to speak to me about it. I feel better now, so there's no need to worry about it. Thanks, boss. I love that addition, by the way. FM19, that's a really good turn of events. As long as you address the issue early, you can get it resolved for any problems or any morale issues or squad dynamic problems, things like that. I got some more good news this week too. Gustavo Scarpa is back and available. He had a really good start to the campaign. 4 goals in the Europa Cup, and obviously 3 goals in the Premier League too. An average rating over 7 a game so far for the little Brazilian, and so far so good from him. So I'm hoping after his injury scare mid-season, he gets back to full fitness, because he's a great player, great option to have up top. All right, so I talked about bringing Callum Slattery back in, and I'm taking it seriously. I'd like to bring him more into the first team towards the end of the season, if possible, as long as not too much is on the line. I want to get him more involved, because the potential certainly is there to be a really good player. Fulham come with an offer here, so that's one of the reasons why I'm going to reject it. I want to get him more involved in the first team. Ronaldo has been granted a work permit. Now I've got to decide if I want to sign Ronaldo for the rest of the campaign. The good thing about Ronaldo, though, he can actually play as a left winger or an inside forward on the left. It obviously suits our tactic, so he will give us options there. I have put a termination option on the deal, correct? Yes, I have put a termination option on the deal, so if it hasn't worked out, I can always set him back. I'm going to do it. I'm going to bring Ronaldo. I think he's a talented midfielder. I think he's a decent player to have in Football Manager. I think his versatility. I think he's a useful player to have. So I'm going to bring him in, and he'll be available actually for this game, believe it or not, up against Everton. So he's straight in the team against his old arch rivals, Everton. So not sure how he's going to fit in straight away. He may have to settle for a place on the bench, but it's good to have him on board. Jorginho Ronaldo. I keep forgetting his first name is Jorginho for some reason. That always slips my mind. I always just known him as Ronaldo. But anyway, here we go, up against Everton at home. Obviously, see our recent form is fair, so I was there. The media has us as one-to-1 favourites to win this. Doesn't give Everton a chance, which is honestly a bit flattering. Did not expect those kind of odds in our favour. Alright, so this is the team we're going to go with up against Everton today. Angelson's going to be in goal, Bertrand at left wing back, Marty at right wing back, Oboa, so good they named him twice, at centre half, partnering Harry Maguire. Gambin Lamina is going to be in midfield with Martial, Grealish, Kluivert and Haaland, of course, leading the line. It's good to see Martial back after a month layoff. He hasn't had a superb season, but he is such a good player that someone that the opposition has to take into account and consideration. And obviously, he's the best player in the squad, in my opinion. And it's just good to see him back because he's an important player for us. Ronaldo, giving them a 17, why not? All right, so here we go. Up against Everton at home. Obviously, we'd like to get back to winning ways in the league after being absolutely demolished by Arsenal last time out. And obviously, it's a good revenge game for us too, up against Everton. It's a bit disappointing that we were knocked out in the third round. I wanted to do well in the FA Cup this year. I actually wanted to do well in both cups. I mean, our squad would have been stretched very thin, but I felt like winning a cup competition, it's certainly high on my agenda, put it that way. All right, so here's Bertrand. It's a decent cross. There's Gambin. Kluivert, let's see what he can do. Back to Gambin here, Kluivert. Korji couldn't do anything with it, and here's a chance for Everton hits on the break. And here's Toussaint now, through on goal, hit the post, and Gunn gets the rebound, lucky enough. But breakaway effort from Everton, we were all over the place at the back there. I'm not sure why we were so pulled out of position, but that's not exactly encouraging signs. All right, here's Grealish. It's a decent cross. There's Martial now. Martial, get in there. 5th goal of the season for Anthony Martial. And again, it's so good to see him back in the Saints shirt. All right, so 1-0 up. Doing okay. Obviously, Everton gave us that scare earlier. Here's another chance for them. Piatek's in the box, and he gets himself a goal here. Christophe Piatek, not really familiar with him, plays for Genoa, apparently. Signed for £11.75 million. Not a bad deal, actually. I mean, most of his attributes are hidden, as you can see, but he does look a pretty well-rounded player, and that's his 2nd goal in the Premier League so far this season. But Everton back on level terms. Let's see what happened here. Marty got kind of sucked in, then Oboa got sucked in, Richarlison got kind of 3-1 into the box, and Maguire couldn't get across there, and Gunn had no chance. Defence has got pulled out of position, just not great defending. All right, here's Gambin now. Gambin to Bertrand, gets in the box to Martial. There's Bertrand now on his right foot. I wish that it was on his left foot, though. All right, here's Bertrand. Decent free kick, and it's safe from Pickford. Grealish picks up the rebound, then he goes behind for a corner kick. That was close. That was a good effort from Ryan. He scored a couple of goals from free kicks this year. He's one of our best free kick takers in the squad, believe it or not. All right, about 10 minutes before halftime here, and we've largely dominated according to the match stats here. Here's Haaland now. It's a good chance. Haaland! Unlucky. That was a really good solo effort there from Erling Haaland. Sometimes he's left a little bit isolated up there. If Jack Grealish can't get up in support, he normally has to go alone, and lucky enough, he has the strength and ability to do something because, I mean, otherwise, I mean, the system wouldn't work if he didn't have a strong striker like Haaland up top. All right, so despite having 8 shots on target here in the first half, we've only scored 1 goal from it, and that was obviously Anthony Martial's in the 10th minute of the game. So very disappointing from the boys so far, and Ricky Lambert agrees with me so much. Obviously, the team talk went well. As you can see, everyone's motivated for the second half, so that's good. Everyone's revved up, and hopefully it's a little bit of payback, a little bit of revenge on the cards here after they knocked us out of the FA Cup 3rd round. All right, Gambin now's going to throw it into Grealish. Looking for him to play a big part in the second half. There's Martial with a header, and it's somehow gone in. Haaland, I think, got the final touch. As you can see, it's credited with a goal. The 18th of the season now for Erling Haaland. The assist from Anthony Martial. Let's see what happened here. It looks like Pickford just kind of threw it in from the head of Martial. Ball goes back across, and yeah, actually it was a pretty decent header from Haaland. Pickford got 2 hands to it. He probably will be disappointed he didn't save that one. But still, I don't care. We're 2-1 up. All right, make a couple changes here. I'd love to bring in Ronaldo, give him his debut today instead of Mario Lemina as a Mazzala. And also bring on Maxwell Cornet too. He's back in the team after a little bit of a fitness problem. So yeah, we'll make those 2 changes. Just going to put some fresh legs in there. All right, here is Maguire, crossfield ball to Bertrand. Expansive stuff here from Southampton. And so far, we've mastered this control possession tactic really, really well. Here's Ronaldo to Amate, puts the ball in. Haaland with a header is off the crossbar, and it should have been 3-1. That was a great chance for Erling Haaland there. Disappointed in on the back of the net on that effort. All right, so I'm going to bring off Daniel Amate. He's on a yellow card on Tyron, and the last thing I want to see him do is get sent off and miss the Tottenham game. So I'm going to bring on Jeremy Toljan now for the last 10 minutes of the game. I'm also going to tell the boys to concentrate, not do anything stupid. And apparently that overwhelmed them. I asked them to concentrate and it overwhelmed them. What kind of weak-minded players have we hired? That's a good ball and it's a penalty. So Haaland has missed a couple penalties this year. So instead, I am going to give it to Martial. So here we go. Anthony Martial is going to step up, see if he gets a second goal of the game here. Martial, and it sends Pickford the wrong way, and it is 3-1 to the Saints. And I'm sure that's game, set, match now, and we come away with a crucial 3 points here to begin January. That's a great ball from Richarlison, and Everton are back in this game already, 3-2. Goal straight from kickoff there, and Piatek gets his second goal of the game. Richarlison, honestly, he was surrounded by a lot of Saints players. There's a lot of Saints players in this box. I'm disappointed that nobody got a head or a touch or a toe or anything onto it. And that was a simple finish for Piatek. And that means Everton are back in this game. So, hopefully this will be it here. We're at 4 minutes added on time. Martial looking for Haaland, can't find him. That's Adamola Lookman, who I thought was actually going to be really, really good this year in Football Manager 2019, but I haven't seen much of him thus far. I don't think his growth has been that impressive either. Here's Grealish now to Cornet, so it's about out of time, surely, referee. I think we've all had enough there. There's Toljan now, puts it in, and Pickford makes the easy claim. So, almost a minute past extra time here. When it's Maguire, there you go, full-time whistle blows, and win 3-2 here against Everton. Not the most convincing display in the world. Obviously, it took a penalty there in the 91st minute, really, to give us a comfortable victory. But we'll take it. Honestly, any win is a good win, especially here in the Premier League, and especially with how we've been playing lately. All right, so after that result, we now sit in 6th place in the table, 9 points clear of Newcastle and Tottenham, who we play next, are chasing us. It's been in pretty good spots, obviously, in the second half of the campaign. What's good about our schedule, though, because it was so front-heavy, taking on some big teams early on, means we only really have one big game towards the end of the season, and that's the Man City one in April. Apart from that, we all have a very, very winnable schedule going in, and we should be able to pick up plenty of points to try and put pressure on that top 4. Obviously, we get into the top 4, that would be the ultimate achievement as manager of Southampton Football Club, breaking up this kind of pact of 6 that's going on right now with Arsenal, Man United. You know who they are. Obviously, breaking into that club would be a pretty amazing achievement. And what's actually kind of cool, I'm taking a look at the match stats here. We actually lead in a lot of categories, which is pretty impressive. We've completed the most crosses in the Premier League, 18%. We've also won the most headers, 66%, and we've got the best average possession at 58%. You notice our tackle ratio is also pretty good, only 1% behind Tottenham, who are currently leading the league. Headers won, 970. Headers won ratio, again, at 66%. Cross completion, that's one I'm very, very proud of. And the passing completion, that's actually exceptional. After that, we got West Ham, Tottenham, and Crystal Palace of all teams are 4th place in the table. So obviously, what we're doing is a pretty good work of our control possession tactic. Obviously, it seems to be gelling and it seems to be working for our team. All right, we finally got the report in for the Konsombi guy from Borussia Mönchengladbach, who was a player I thought might bring in maybe as a board and midfielder backup, but it doesn't seem to have a lot of potential about him at 25 years old. They're going to want a couple million. He would be cheap, however, but current ability of 2-star, only 2.5-star potential ability in time. He's a player I'll probably keep on my shortlist for a little bit, and if we get desperate over the summer, I might add him to the team, but for right now, I'm going to let him walk. All right, so Dembele. What should we do with Dembele? After signing Ronaldo, signing Dembele seems like a little bit of overkill now, doesn't it? He's also unavailable for Europe because he's already played for Tottenham in Europe. So, if if I sign him, he's not going to be useful from that side of things. I did put a trade back clause or a release of contract clause in his loan deal. So if I did bring him in, I could just let him go, I suppose. No, I'm not going to bring him in. I don't really think I need to. So I could probably use that wage other ways. Maybe I can find another player, maybe even a decent centre half, perhaps. Because right now Wesley Hoyt really isn't doing it for me. And of course, as soon as I decide not to sign a backup centre midfielder, one of my main centre midfielders gets hurt. Wilfred Ndidi's out injured again. I feel like it's a recurring theme with him. I'm hoping it's not a long-term problem that he's going to face throughout my save, because Wilfred Ndidi is a quality midfield talent. So after making it through December, what I did actually this year, obviously we have much better performances this December than we did the last couple of ones. I'll show you some of the comparisons. As you can see, we picked up 2 wins, 3 draws and 2 defeats. If you compare that, say, to last season around December time, you'll notice a lot more draws and a lot more kind of defeats. As you can see, 3 defeats, only 1 win in December, and that was against Tottenham, today's opposition. And in the first one, the first season we had, as you can see, all those defeats amounted to my job being on the line. So this year what I did was, obviously the training schedule automatically puts in certain training sessions. I basically, because of the fixture congestion, I just told the guys to rest. I didn't do any training sessions throughout the whole of December, and the players came back much fitter, much sharper, and they're able to compete much better. As you can see, we're against tougher opposition here too, some very tough games, and to come away with only 2 defeats in December, one of those being with a reserve team, I was very satisfied with. So if you're looking to maybe do something during December and heavy fixture congestion, maybe just switch all the training schedule to rest instead. That seems to certainly help. Also, by the way, we sent De Grassa, Cosimo Marco De Grassa, to Perugia on loan. That was my terrible Italian accent, by the way. I hope you all enjoyed that. And we're going to send Popovic on loan to Sonoy as well. Popovic, by the way, he's not very good. He's not going to turn into a player. I was hoping he would. So yeah, he can go, and honestly, if he wants, he can stay. All right, so here we go, up against Tottenham now. It was only 3 or 4 days since the last fixture, so you know there's a couple of tired legs in there. And Ndidi, that's the player who was out. So instead of Ndidi on the bench today, what we'll have Thomas Harlan, perhaps. No, Wijnaldum kind of makes that redundant. So what we could do here is have Patrick Roberts on the bench instead. Yeah, we'll have Patrick Roberts, because if we need a centre half, we have Gambin in there. We also have a Marty, can also play centre half as well. Okay, so we're well stocked across the board there. Yeah, that works. We'll keep the same 11 out there, and we'll just make a couple of changes to the bench and reserve team. So, all right, so here we go, up against Tottenham away from home. Obviously at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Beautiful new facility. Didn't Tottenham only play 1 game in it this season before they had to close it down and move back to Wembley? I don't know what happened with that. I presume the stadium just wasn't ready in time or something, but obviously I'm looking forward to it. The stadium looks fantastic, by the way, Spurs fans. I hope you all enjoy your new facilities. But anyway, here we go. Saints obviously in their classic yellow and blue shorts. Obviously synonymous and famous with Saints fans, because that's the colour kit that we wore when we won the FA Cup, our only major trophy. All right, here's Grealish now. Whoops the ball in out of real order at the near post. Here's Martial, picks up the pieces. Martial with the efforts. Obviously, confidence is high in the young Frenchman there after scoring 2 goals in the last game. All right, here's Kluivert. Not the best ball in the world, but Martial does well to read it. There's Haaland now off the outside of the post. We are absolutely all over Tottenham Hotspurs right now. And obviously Tottenham Hotspurs are struggling a little bit just because they lost Harry Kane in the summer to that huge money move to Manchester United. So they're struggling really to replace him. I think Son is playing up top by himself, and that's not really the ideal striker to have up there by yourself. Yeah, I mean, look at the other players around them too. They haven't really got much stronger since the save has started. So I'm sure Spurs fans will be disappointed to hear that. All right, so here's Gambin now to Martial. Let's see what the Frenchman can do. Here we go. This is where he's very strong. I kind of wish we'd do this more. Just turn and run at the opposition defense. I have those instructions on him, but it doesn't seem to follow him out that often. Here's Jack Grealish, though. Finds Bertrand on the overlap. Put a decent cross, Ryan. That's not bad. Flick it on, and there's a goal. Get in there. Erling Haaland, 19th for the season, and an assist there as well for Anthony Martial. those two are linking up nicely. He actually got an assist in the last one for Haaland as well, if you remember correctly. Bertrand got there, did well, put the cross in. Good flick on from Martial. Not good defending there from Tottenham Hotspur. Sanchez is going to be disappointed as Luis in goal. But doesn't matter to us. We're 1-0 up. All right, we're going to start the second half here. And obviously we're doing pretty well, aren't we? Honestly, very happy so far with the performance of the boys here. 1-0, dominating. And here's the chance early on. Haaland's going to make it 2-0, getting the second goal of the game for Erling Haaland. 20th goal of the season. Incredible return from Erling Haaland. As you can see, he's just been magnificent, hasn't he? £16.25 million. He's already repaid me back in absolutely has he repaid me back. Just a great striker. Really, really good, talented player. Needless to say, I recommend him. If you get a chance to sign him in FM19, sign this guy. He's a special talent. All right, so 2-0 up here, 60 minutes on the mark, and we actually have to take up Liverpool next match, and Liverpool have only lost 1, maybe 2 games this season. It's going to be a very tough test, so I'm going to start rotating some players out, keeping some guys fit. Lamina always has trouble keeping fit, as does Ryan Bertrand, so both of those will get a break here, and we'll keep on Haaland just in case he has the opportunity to get his hat-trick. All right, here's Wijnaldum now, back to Justin Kluivert. Here's Grealish. Not been on great form as of late, and obviously the return of Gustavo is going to put pressure on him. And decent mazy running effort there for Martial, but always going wide. Wish his finishing was slightly better. If his finishing was slightly better, Martial would be an absolute superstar. I'm sure a lot of Man United fans would agree with me on that one. Anyway, here's Tottenham on the attack now. They still have time to get back in this, so we can't fall asleep. And that's falling asleep. That's the epitome of falling asleep. Just letting Palacios just kind of ghost into the box there unchallenged and tapped it past Angus Gunn. He really didn't have a lot of choice there. I mean, who was supposed to be picking up? I presume that probably would have been Jack Grealish's man, but because I haven't set him on attack, he's kind of drifted away into the middle of the park. But so 2-1. Tottenham are right back in this. All right, here's Eriksen now. Finds Dyer at the back post. It's a good header and a good save there from Angus Gunn against his England teammate. So I'm guessing that wasn't the highlight. Ball goes long here. Alderweireld deals with Haaland. I actually fancy that matchup there. Haaland 1-on-1 against Alderweireld. Obviously, he's getting on a bit now too. So I fancy that matchup. I'd like to see maybe us do that again. A target interception. Here's a chance now, perhaps. Oh, there's a mistake there. Son's through on goal, and what a save. Take a bow, Angus Gunn. That was a fantastic save from the young England goalkeeper. That should have been 2-2 there. Terrible defending between Maguire and Amati. Made a real mess of that. And Tottenham certainly have pushed our backs against the wall here. And we're in trouble. I might have to switch tactics here in a second. Here's Hector now. Let's see what happens with this highlight first. That's a good cross, and that's a goal. Son gets the rebound. It's 2-2. Wow. Absolutely atrocious. Got to demand more of the boys here. Let's make a tactic. Let's go on the attack ourselves. Let's go ahead and do what I like to do here. I like to push second man up top. Bring on Ibrahimi. We'll go Ibrahimi as a complete forward on. Let's do a complete forward on attack. I want him a bit more aggressive towards the box. So we'll do that. And we got about 3 or 4 minutes now to maybe get something, maybe get all 3 points in this game. That's really annoying me, the fact we've thrown away 2 goals here late in the second half after essentially controlling majority of the game. We just fell asleep and gave the game to Tottenham here. And here's Tottenham on the attack again. Don't say we're going to freaking give them 3 goals. Son's now through on goal. Oh, you've got to be freaking kidding me. Alright, so let's get this freaking misery of a game over and done with there. Just absolutely thrown it away there in the last 20 minutes of the game. I'm not sure what happened. Tottenham just all of a sudden flicked a switch and all of a sudden they became a world-beating team. Because we're not a bad team ourselves, and the changes I make weren't terrible changes in my opinion. Matt Targett is a more than capable left-back, and as if Wijnaldum is a more than capable midfielder, it shouldn't have been that bad. Shouldn't have pulled us out of shape that badly in the last 20 minutes. But I don't know what to say. Absolutely devastating defeat, be honest with you. That was a situation there that I don't know what to say about it, be honest with you. Now, the problem is with that one too. Tottenham are now starting to catch up with us. They're only 6 points behind us now. And obviously we've dropped points there, so now we have to play catch up to the teams above us in the table. Disappointing, very, very disappointing. We can't do that if we're going to take our run at Champions League seriously. But yeah, that's a really disappointing way to end the episode there. Absolutely gutting. And obviously now that means we've lost 3 in the last 4, which isn't good form at all. And we're not defending well. As you can see, started to leak goals. 2-4, 1-2-3. So I'm going to have to take a look at the defensive shape, no doubt. And obviously we're up against Liverpool next too. So gotta work out what went wrong and gotta do it quickly. But thanks so much for watching the episode. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, remember to do me a favor, hit like on the video. If you want to see more from me in the future, please hit subscribe, turn notifications on. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you guys soon. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye.